What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Let me get to the spot. Hey, everybody. What is going on? This is Plan Your Greatness, and I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton. And as you can see, it is Lucky Financial Friday. Yay! Yes, it is Financial Friday, and we're here to give you guys some great financial stuff. But let me say this real quickly. I want to get this out the way. And I think I have to do this like every video. But the understanding is I am not a tax attorney. I'm not a tax lawyer. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not certified in any way, shape, or form to be given any sort of advice that you can take and then think you're going to go make yourself a millionaire from. This is all for entertainment purposes. I talked about this last week, is you have to create a money mindset. You cannot go into this game as far as looking at what money is going to do or what you're going to do with money and take yourself out of wherever you are right now because you're not happy with what you're making or whatever, without first seeing yourself in that better place in your mind first. I've heard this before that, when things happen, they happen twice. They first happen in the mind, then they happen out in physical form. I absolutely 100% believe that. Now, with that mindset, with that understanding of creating that mindset, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Where did you get it from? Did you get it from your mom, your dad, an uncle, somebody? Somebody influenced you to where now you have adopted that, because you can always get out of it. Now, I want to bring that to mind because a lot of us have adopted this mindset that there's a problem with money. That the people who have it are doing evil things, bad things. They don't do anything good with it. They're always looking to get more and taking it away from someone else. And that's a very poverty, scarcity mindset. And I bring that to mind because the way that I was raised, I had both my parents in the home. My dad went and worked. My mom stayed at home. And everything that we had, it was basically just enough to get by. But my mother let us all know this one particular house rule. She said, you were not going to get a new pair of shoes unless you came out of those other ones. You wore them out. That's when you were going to get another pair of shoes. But she also added this little addendum, this little asterisk on the side where she said, if you are participating in something that requires you to have an additional shoe, you shall get the shoe. And what's funny is when I talk to my brothers, I don't think they heard that second part the way that I did. Because I said, wait a minute. That means if I start participating in stuff which require a shoe, I could get an extra shoe. Yeah. So what did I do? Come fall, went out for cross country. I needed running shoes. After cross country was basketball. I needed basketball shoes. After basketball was wrestling season. I needed wrestling shoes. And after wrestling season, it was track. So I got track shoes. Then we went into the summer, which was baseball. So then I needed gear for that. And in my little corner of the world in our house, and remember, this is a house with 2 parents, 9 kids, 4 bedrooms. 1 bath. So in my little corner of the world, I had shoes and equipment and everything. And I remember my brothers would always say, you were so spoiled, you got everything. And I was like, duh. You didn't hear what she said? She just said that if you are participating in stuff, you get the gear. And the thing about it, I look back on that and I said, man, my mom was either working overtime, doing some side stuff, or my dad was doing some side stuff to make sure that we all had something, because all of us played different sports. So we had different things. I just was the most active in the multiple sports and the multiple activities. So I bring that to mind because my kids' mom and I had 2 different philosophies on how we looked at money. I saw it as if I wanted to get something, I could create it, bring it into existence by me physically kind of manipulating, bending reality. That's what I felt I was doing. And my kid's mom looked at everything as very, she She grew up only child, barely knew her mom, barely knew her dad, bounced around from family to family. One particular instance, she was with these people in the church. So there was a lot of things and a lot of ideas about money and time and all the stuff that she experienced. So we just had two different ways that we looked at the world. And I could see where it is now. I always felt in even my toughest situations, I could create finances to get me through. I never looked at myself just completely backed into a corner. I said, I know I'm going to figure this out. I don't know how, but I'm going to figure it out. Now, with that in mind, we're still talking about building the foundation of a money mindset. I was listening to this podcast because now that I've jumped into this game of finances, I want to learn the language. I want to hear what these other people are thinking and doing and talking about. I'm listening to this one podcast. It's called Morris Invest. It's like Morris Investments. He fashions himself kind of a beginning stages Robert Kiyosaki. He's into real estate. He's buying and holding. He's getting the rental income. He's passive income. He's doing all that stuff. All right. And he got to meet Robert Kiyosaki, and he said Kiyosaki dropped on him some of the best advice that he ever heard. And that was, you need to have a money mindset. Because if you don't, the hurdles that you're going to have to endure and the pitfalls and travails that you're going to go through in life, they're going to break you. But if you have that money mindset that, you know what, money is money. Money is something I can work with. If it leaves my hand, it's going to come right back. Some people just see it constantly leaving and don't realize how they can actually create it coming back. And he said that shifted his mindset, especially after reading the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and really understanding the four cash flow quadrants, being an employee, then a sole proprietor, then a business, and an investor. So he learned those things and he applied them. And so now this guy has a fairly large and growing portfolio of real estate. All right. So he's created this money mindset. And then also just the other day, I was watching the new Dave Chappelle Netflix. And Dave started talking about his father, because he said, man, we are poor. And Dave Chappelle said, his dad said to him real quickly, he said, son, we're not poor. We're broke. And he said, there is a difference in being poor and broke. He said, poor, or basically poverty, he said, that's a mindset. That lasts forever. He said, but we're broke. And that's a temporary situation. I don't have the funds and everything right now to do all the things and give you all the money that you may want, but it's going to pass. See what I'm saying? It's a different understanding of how you view your financial situation. Do you see it as permanent, poor, or do you see it as broke, just temporary, and you're gonna figure it out? I thought that was just very powerful as far as, and I'm sure that had a heavy influence on Dave, because you look at him right now, Dave, probably the combination of feeling a little poor, but understanding that this is just a temporary state of being that he creates where he is right now, that he wanted to be funny and all this stuff. So he's created the world and the traveling and meeting all these different people. He's created that different mindset. Now, all right, now that we've talked a little bit about that, talked about the understanding of a little bit of the mindset, of the money mindset, I got something for you. I want you to do this for the next 30 days. Again, we are starting out at the very basics of doing the things that are going to help us change our mindset around money. What I want you to do is I want you to get a notebook. If you don't have a notebook, use the app on your phone. Some people have these fancy apps where you could talk into them and it'll put the price and everything on there. But I know I have an app which helped me write my book, shameless plug, Plan Your Greatness, Life, Love. What's the whole title? Plan Your Greatness, Life, Love, Plan Your Greatness. Success Principles of Life, Love, and Business After Sports and Prison. That's the shameless plug. So over the next 30 days, I need you to either use that app, because I used it for writing my book. I was able to talk and it was able to type, and then I was able to transcribe it. So I know people can use it. It's just called Notepad. And so what you do with that is every time you spend money on anything, anytime something comes out of your pocket, cash, change, coins, you give money to a homeless or whatever, swipe your card, whatever you do as far as money-wise for the next 30 days, I want you to keep track of it. Why is that important? It's then going to let you see how much money you're spending on whatever you're spending. And I want you to be very specific. You know, if you just said junk, whatever, be real specific, because that's going to help you. The more specific you are on what you're spending on, the more specific you are going to be able to be later on as far as how you're managing that. So I want you, for the next 30 days, I want you to monitor everything that you're spending. Because here's the indirect consequence of that. If you stay on task for the next 30 days watching what you're spending, what happens is you start making choices. I don't think I need that. Or you'll go, nah, I don't want to record it. So for whatever reason, and this is what I've heard from other people, is that they said that they either really became conscious of what they were spending, or they just said, nah, I don't even want to spend that because I don't want to write it down. Or they realized what they're spending. They said, ooh, that's some garbage. Because these are the indirect consequences, positive consequences of when you start monitoring what you're spending. You start watching what you're eating, because then you go, you know what? I'm going to have water instead of the soda. So you start eating healthier, because then you go, you know, I don't really need that. You eliminate the junk. The other one is, because you're so conscious of what you're spending, you start not staying up late, nibbling on food, and you end up going to bed early. You end up sleeping better. Then because you're not drinking the soda and you end up substituting water because you want some liquid in your system, you end up drinking water. You're increasing your water intake. Then because of that, you start thinking, well, that membership I got at the gym, you know what, I haven't even, instead of going out or whatever, you go to the gym. Water intake, you're feeling better. So now you're feeling better, you're sleeping better, your food, you start wanting to exercise. And then the last thing, one of the most important ones, is that you start thinking better, because now you're sitting over here monitoring what you're spending, you're watching your food intake, you're monitoring your sleep, your water intake, your exercise, you start thinking better. And when you make those small adjustments over time, you'll be amazed when you come back 30 days later on how your life has changed. You've lost a few pounds and now you're on your way. And if you start doing this just for the next 30 days, monitor your spending, you do that, you'll see at the end of those 30 days how you're now starting to plan your greatness. All right? Now, make sure that you hit the like button, the share button, subscribe, send this all to anybody else. Put some comments in there as you are starting to do your journey for these next 30 days. We'll be back next Friday to just talk a little bit more and just give you the baby steps on changing yourself, changing your mindset as far as financial. This is Financial Friday. This is Plan Your Greatness. And I will say this again, as I always do. Plan your greatness. You know why? Oh, wait a minute. What's that? That's my son. He's taking us home. Plan your greatness. You know why? Because no one else will.
A young boy
See y'all next Friday.
was all alone. No one knew he was home.